Hi guys, welcome to another audio video, and I'll be reading Judges 16 of the King James Version Bible, and it reads, Then went Samson to Gaza, and saw there an harlot, and went in unto her. And it was told the Gazites, saying, Samson is come hither. And they compassed him in, and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all the night, saying, In the morning, when it is day, we shall kill him. And Samson lay till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gate of the city, and the two posts, and went away with them, bar and all, and put them upon his shoulders, and carried them up to the top of an hill that is before Hebron. And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. And the lords of the Philistine came up unto her, and said unto her, Entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver. And Delilah said to Samson, Tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee. And Samson said unto her, If they bind me with 7 green withs that were never dried, then shall I be weak, and be as another man. Then the lords of the Philistine brought up to her 7 green withs, which had not been dried, and she bound him with them. Now there were men lying in wait, abiding with her in the chamber. And she said unto him, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson, and he break his withs, as a thread of tow is broken when it toucheth the fire, so his strength was not known. And Delilah said unto Samson, Behold, thou hast mocked me, and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, If they bind me fast with new ropes that never were occupied, then shall I be weak, and be as another man. Delilah therefore took new ropes, and bound him therewith, and said unto him, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And there were liers in wait abiding in the chamber, and he brake them from off his arms like a thread. And Delilah said unto Samson, Hitherto thou hast mocked me, and told me lies. Tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, If thou weavest the 7 locks of my head with the web. And she fastened it with the pin, and said unto him, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awakened out of his sleep, and went away with the pin of the beam, and with the web. And she said unto him, How canst thou say, I love thee, when thine heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times, and hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth. And it came to pass, when she pressed him daily with her words, and urged him, so that his soul was vexed unto death, that he told her all his heart, and said unto her, There hath not come a razor upon mine head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak, and be like any other man. And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, Come up this once, for he hath shewed me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and brought money in their hand. And she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head, and she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. And she said, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep and said, I will go out as at other times before, and shake myself. And he wist not that the Lord was departed from him. But the Philistines took him, and put out his eyes, and brought him down to Gaza, and bound him with fetters of brass, and he did grind in the prison house. Howbeit the hair of his head began to grow again after he was shaven. Then the lords of the Philistines gathered them together for to offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon their god, and to rejoice. For they said, Our God hath delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hand. And when the people saw him, they praised their God. For they said, Our God hath delivered into our hands our enemy, and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us. And it came to pass, when their hearts were merry, that they said, Call for Samson, that he may make us sport. And they called for Samson out of the prison house, and he came, and he made them sport, and they set him between the pillars. And Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, Suffer me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean upon them. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And there were upon the roof about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Samson made sport. And Samson called unto the Lord and said, O Lord God, remember me, I pray thee, and strengthen me, I pray thee, only this once, O God, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines for my 2 eyes. And Samson took hold of the 2 middle pillars upon which the house stood, and on which it was borne up, of one with his right hand, and of the other with his left. And Samson said, Let me die with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell upon the lords, and upon all the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his hand were more than they which he slew in his life. Then his brethren and all the house of his father came down and took him, and brought him up, and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol, in the burying place of Manoah his father, and he judged Israel 20 years. Alright guys, so sorry about that. I don't know why I keep saying that word like that. It's Eshtaol. Okay? Alright, so here we have the story of Samson ending, where his life, basically his purpose which God had intended for him, had been put asunder and cut short because of a woman that he shouldn't have converged with in the first place. And we see where he loved this woman with all his heart, Delilah, and he gave her his secrets, but he did not see God out in dealing with this woman. And that was the error he made on his part, because if he had seeked out the Lord prior to going in onto this woman, then he would have known that she meant him no good, and the Lord would have delivered him from her hand. But he was smitten with her. And I mean, guys, are men so dumb that they don't see? Was he so dumb that he didn't realize that this woman was asking him about his strength so much? And why would you want to know the person you love's weakness? That's not something for you to really ponder upon and say, oh, what is your weakness? What is your weakness? I need to know your weakness. That's not what you do. I mean, somebody who loves you, they realize your weaknesses and they help you to build so that those weaknesses will become strength and not be weaknesses anymore. And the fact that she's continuing to ponder on the fact that she wants to know his weakness and keeps pressing him to know his weakness, that should have basically brought to his attention the fact that she might not be of good will. She might not mean him well. Why would somebody that meant you well be asking you about your weakness, continually pressing you to know your weakness? Why do I need to know your weakness if not to harm you and hurt you? Why would I need to know that? And God, in His infinite wisdom, He gives His people wisdom. He passed on wisdom to His people because we serve an omniscient God, and He knows all, and He does not leave His people to fend for themselves. He provides for them. He provides in every aspect for them. And that just goes to show that Samson, even though he was supposed to be carrying out the will of the Lord, he was a man basically after his own heart. And he basically forsook the Lord before the Lord forsook him when his hair was shaven off. And that just goes to show me that a lot of us in today's society, we do the same. We forsake what the Lord intends for us to chase after what we want, the desires of our own hearts, and that becomes our downfall continuously. Okay, so I'll urge you guys not to let your own selfish desires become your downfall, okay? Ask God to be your guide. Ask Him to slay self within you each and every day so that you may be able to walk in His glory. And guys, I'm sorry for the noises, okay? Those are out of my control, but I hope you were able to get the message and to get the words that were actually being brought forth, although the words of the scriptures are on the screen so you can see them for yourself. Okay, all right guys, do have yourselves a blessed day. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification so you're alerted whenever a new audio video is posted. And guys, please don't forget to share your thoughts, your revelations, and your comments down below in the comment section. And also, please remember to keep your salvation. And if you've not yet gained it, then seek it. Have yourselves a blessed day. Bye.